Professor Emerita in the First Nations Studies program at UNBC, and I especially want to talk to you about the experiential learning courses that we've set up here. The very first one was the Cottonwood Canoe course that took place here in the Rotunda Gallery in the winter semester in 2013. And the next one was where we built canoes, 2 cottonwood canoes at the Banuts'ukuih Lake Reserve along the Nachaco River in the summer of 2013. And then the next one was building a pit house. I don't think we'll have time to go walk all the way up there. It's behind UNBC and show it to you today. But then we built a pit house in the summer of 2014. And then there was a moose hide tanning course the next summer, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Well, these were for university UNBC students, and so they were, you could be an undergraduate student, you could be, first year, fourth year, or you could be an MA student and take the courses. The aim was to have learning in a real First Nations kind of way. Instead of being just a regular kind of classroom, the Cottonwood Canoe course was taught by Robert and Edie Frederick, who are lately 10A elders, and it was Robert Frederick who made this canoe and carved the traditional lately 10A story of the salmon, the Stas and the salmon on the side. And the TA for the course was Jennifer Biggin, who's also a late lieutenant. She was then a UNBC master's degree student. She's finished her master's by now, certainly, but good friends of them. It was doing things in the traditional way that First Nations, Indigenous peoples teach, or interact and teach people of all generations. Instead of being just a typical kind of course in a classroom, it was Robert Frederick talking about having grown up, lately Tene, the local First Nation, means people of the confluence of the 2 rivers. It's the Tlacho, which is we got renamed the Fraser River by the colonizers, and the Nachaco River, which means strong undercurrent river, and they come together here. And so he talked about having grown up, at that confluence and in cottonwood canoes and seeing the maid and everything. And he had been asked to make one to put in front of City Hall, which he did, and because it was just going to be in front of the Prince George City Hall, he carved the traditional story of the Stas and the salmon. There it is the name up there. Banuts'ukuih is the name in the Lady language. The course was just wonderful. The first course took place here in the Rotunda Art Gallery. After the city of Prince George decided that they would make a fiberglass replica of the cottonwood one because they were afraid it might get damaged or something. So they did that, and then they gifted UNBC the original. And when that happened, I thought, oh, wow, we can make a course out of this. And I asked Robert and Edie if they would be willing to teach it. They said, sure. And Jennifer Picken was the teaching assistant. She knows them really well. She made a beautiful course outline for the course. And so that's how it came into being. And what happened was, he told the class about cottonwood canoes, growing up in them. He told about making them. He made a couple. One is north of town at a sort of tourist site, and then the other is now this one whose replica is in front of City Hall. And then he told the story, the traditional story of the Stas and the salmon to the class, and it was just wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. wonderful to hear him telling the story. We've got this screen with pictures of the two classes, and at one point it shifts into him telling the story. So if you put on these earphones, you can hear him telling the story. But actually, as I put it on just now, after he tells the story in English, his wife Edie tells the story in the Lately Tene language. Because the language is, very, very important, and her keeping it alive is very important to her. She is teaching the Lately language in the Nesteo Aboriginal Choice School here in Prince George. There was an experiential learning kind of fun from UNBC, but there were a lot of students who signed up for the class. I think there were 34 students in the class, and so we didn't need any extra funding. They got the funding, they got paid as instructors, and Jennifer as the teaching assistant, and I came every single day to all of those classes, but I didn't need to be paid. The carving had been made, but it had never been painted, and the idea was then to have the carving put on the other side of the canoe, and so the students did rubbing on one side, and then they transferred it on the other side so they could carve it there. But before they did the carving there, each student was given a block of cottonwood so they could make a little model cottonwood canoe, because cottonwood is much harder to carve than cedar. So I wanted them to get used to what working with cottonwood before they carve the story on the other side. So I don't think it's worth going around taking the camera to the other side, but the other side of the canoe also has the same image of the story, the stuffs and the salmon carved on it and painted on it, and it was carved by the students. You'll see sometimes pictures of the students carving away. Though right here, I think you now see Rob telling the story. And the students just loved every bit of it. It was interactive, they were all here carving away, working together and everything. There was a huge amount of interaction between the students and Robert, Amy, and Jennifer, of course. And they just loved it. If you go to the UNBC website and add courses and then go to the Experiential, there's a category Experiential, there's some beautiful short YouTubes about how much the students love these interactive courses. I define Indigenous education as being about Indigenous ways of doing things and knowing things and understanding things, and as taught by Indigenous people about Indigenous things. I think it's going to expand and get deeper and deeper and deeper. It's ways of learning about Indigenous ways, Indigenous values, Indigenous activities, Indigenous worldviews, and kind of implementing them. Oh, I'd love to see it as part of grade school education, high school education for non-native as well as obviously Indigenous students, and having students do those kinds of things. I remember when my kids were little, I got the teacher so we made a teepee in was that grade 2 or 3, and it was so much fun with all the students and everything, and they made designs and they made different kinds of things, and they just loved it. It was great. But those kinds of things, from grade school, high school, university, graduate school, PhDs, everything. Well, we would need support from schools. It's wonderful that they have the what's NCCI here, but is working on all aspects of this. We would need just to have people getting behind this and make you see that it truly comes into practice, into fruition.